excited to welcome to Epic Theater Stephen King, developer of the Loren.
Very pleased to be here. Thank you.
So Stephen, tell us some of your background, personal background, where you're from, how you wound up as a developer, etc.
It's a long, winding story. Once upon a time, though my accent may not reflect it anymore, I'm from England, but I've lived in the United States for nearly 25 years now, and my background was in finance, nothing to do with hospitality or building whatsoever. We were in credit trading and structuring in banking. And about, what year is it now? It all feels like it's only just last year, but it's just so much longer ago. 2009, we left the investment banking world to start a fund business, including managing some of our own money. And by mid-2012, I think it was, I started to have my eye on land and property to build something, and not just residential stuff. I thought this really needs to be commercial. And I thought, I've always had the view that luxury is both an exciting business to be in, but it's also a sensible investment, for good or for bad. The wealthy will always be spending their money, so not a bad thing to be building to satisfy that demand. And for a variety of reasons, I was spending a lot of time in Bermuda. And so I grabbed Ryan and a couple of our other colleagues. Ryan, who sat behind me, that's the only reason I'm pointing, has been with me for well over 20 years now. And I said, listen, why don't we, rather than deal with the ethereal aspects of finance, why don't we actually start playing around with some bricks and mortar? We enjoy leisure, we enjoy luxury, we enjoy architecture and design. My wife and I have been collecting art for some time. We'd run out of wall space in the apartments, and we were like, well, where else could we hang our art? Maybe we built hotels. My lord, we could, populate them with art, and we could, really build something that we cared about. And so I said, what the hell, let's do it. And I started driving around in Bermuda. I thought, if I'm going to do it, why don't I do it here? Because quite honestly, along the back, this was back in 2013. There weren't a lot of, there hadn't been any new construction in Bermuda for so long. There were really no good bars or restaurants or hotels, or at least of that to satisfy that demand. And I found a site, and it was in receivership, and I approached the bank and I said, why don't we acquire this property? And they said, sure. We agreed a price, and within 6 months we knocked it down, and we were using our own and some friends' money, and we just started building the hotel. We'd never done anything like it before. We formed a construction company to oversee all of the contractors. We decided, after some deliberation, that there are some really good operators in the world, but we wanted the control to be able to unite what we were building with what we were operating and how we were funding it. We said, well, oh no, this is going to be a heavy lift, let's do the operator too. And we started building, and that we acquired that land at the beginning of 2014. And Bermuda was hosting the America's Cup in 2017.
I remember that.
And I said to the team, I don't really care how we do it, but we are opening by the America's Cup, because I want to host the mega yacht party at our new hotel. That has to be our goal. And I remember we did. But like if you went to Warner Studios or something, that you could walk down those Western sets and there's all the buildings and everything, but if you peered behind them, there isn't there. Half the hotel wasn't really finished at that point, as Ryan points out to me. But yeah, we got there, we opened for the America's Cup, we were fully open within another 6 months or so, and it was really, really very special, and it meant a huge amount to us to get there. And I became very connected to Bermuda as a result of it, and I knew the CEO of the bank then, and I knew the Premier Bert, and he said, so what's the plan now? And I said, well, what do you think? And he said, I think it's go big or go home. You need to build another one. So we went looking for another one, and now we're 3 projects in, we're now here.